Hey guys, Heavy Arms 45 here. Now, I have told y'all last time that the fight that we were going to have next was going to be Natsu versus Asta. I know I went off on tangent on the Krillin versus Saitama thing, and apparently a lot of y'all didn't find interest in that. Cool. Um, so we have fire versus anti-magic when it comes to uh, Natsu versus Asta. Begin. Sorry. If Asta and Natsu were to meet, it would probably be a training match. They both like fighting people. Um because Natsu loves to fight anybody. You can see it in every time he's at Fairy Tail, they're always basically having brawls with each other. So having a fight with people is never a problem with him. Then we have Asta, who basically he wants to be Wizard King. So with his ideas of being Wizard King, he would try and do whatever he can to basically make sure that he's able to defend the world. So if somebody gave him a challenge, he would basically try to do his best, like we've seen in the uh, Royal Knight games, where you're going to be a part of the King's Royal Knights. Between the two of them, both of them have good strength. Asta had to make sure that he strengthened his body since Asta doesn't have any magic in him himself. He's had to train his actual body, so he's more physically fit than anyone else in his world. Seems like a lot of times, and Natsu is sort of like for him being able to be a being able to use Dragon Slayer magic. Dragneel taught him. Yeah, his dragon father taught him how basically how to be stronger than what a regular person is. So him and Asta would be like physically strong. When it comes to their abilities, Natsu is a little bit more adaptable. Whenever he's fighting people who seems to get the upper hand on him, he a lot of times tries to like eat their magic. Like when he was going against Jalal, when he was going against the Iron Dragon Slayer, whenever he's in trouble and he needs just a little bit extra power, he would just go ahead and eat some of their magic and have it infused with his fire and use both of their abilities to be able to defeat somebody. While Asa, on the other hand, is sort of quick on his feet. Since he spent a lot of his time not really having a lot of magical power, it's sort of a trade-off to where he has to try and find ways, since he just got his power, sort of like how Deku in My Hero Academia has to learn how to use his powers, because they both just like all of a sudden they have these powers and they have to figure out how to be effective without with basically this one trick pony idea that they have. Like with Asta, I mean not Asta, with Deku, he just knows that he has this powerful punch that he can smash. If he does this, he'll break bones in his body most of the time. Well, he finds ways of, like, you can watch the festival where they set up there and he's breaking each one of his fingers, breaking his fist. Like, he found ways of making sure that he stayed in the game without actually KOing himself to where he wasn't able to fight. In the same way, Asta had to find ways of he's had to find ways of using his anti-magic swords without actually having any way of upgrading them. Like, no matter what he does, those swords will just be anti-magic. They don't give him any special powers, or they didn't until recently, which gets to my next point. Both of them have an extra mode. With Natsu, we found out that he has a berserk mode from item that he had from when he was first born that basically boosts his powers and makes him monstrous at that point. And with Asta, he has his dark mode, which is apparently in his larger blade. There's an actual demon in there that allows him to. There's a demon in there that allows him to tap into it, and once he taps into that power, he's able to basically mix that with his regular powers, which is non-established, and it gives him sort of a black cloak over part of his body, where he gets like a whole half his body is covered in a black flame with a wing to it. So both of them would be able to have this extra mode to be able to fight each other. When it comes down to the fight completely, not saying fight to death, I would say if they went their full power, Natsu would probably lose because he's limited. Natsu's whole thing is dealing with fire, and we've seen on a lot of occasions the reason that he has to be adaptable, and the reason that Natsu most of the time has to be adaptable and has to eat somebody else's magic is because he's ran out of flame magic for himself. And if it's, and it depends on where you say there. So, but a lot of times he talks about how his fire doesn't taste good. So it's pretty easy to say that he doesn't eat his own fire, and it doesn't recharge him when he does anyway. If there's food around, maybe he's able to recharge somewhat, but a lot of times when he's out of power, it's basically just brute strength at that point. And if that's the case, there's a small chance of him beating Asta at that point. But we've seen Asta's anti-magic sword be able to bounce back fire at people, and basically we've seen Asta's anti-magic sword basically deal with fire and block it from hitting him on several different occasions. He's lost a lot of clothes in the ensuing flame, but he was okay during those times. So it's sort of like Natsu and Asta are not equal, but it would be an interesting fight. But I would say that because of Natsu's limited abilities of being able to cast his magic, because the stronger the magic, the less he. And some would ask, which I'm going to answer, well, what if Natsu tried to eat Asta's, tried to take power from Asta's anti-blade? Well, that's the thing about it. The demon inside of it, which we found out during the witch saga, the sword doesn't just give you power, but anyone who holds it that actually has magic, it sucks the power out of them, which would basically make Natsu weaker. So the only person in this fight that could actually hold Asta's swords would be Asta. I can't think of anything else to say about this fight, because now that I've said it out loud, it sounds like a good fight until one of them runs out of gas, and Asta wouldn't run out of gas for the fact of there is no gas. It's basically an endurance battle after Natsu runs out of power, and the question is if Natsu has more endurance than Asta, because we're pretty sure that both of them can have the same durability, where both of them can take the same amount, decent amount of damage. I'm not going to say the same amount, but once Natsu's tank run out of gas, he's sort of weakened at that point, and that's the end of it. So I have a situation. My situation is this. I have set up on a list a group of different fights that I want to do. And I'm going to do, which if you're into anime, you'll probably be upset with me. But the next couple of fights I'm going to have, it looks like I have listed as being, like I said before, sort of nerdish type stuff. The next one that I have is supposed to be a Star Trek versus Star Trek battle, where it's the Borg versus the Q. And that probably be a quick one. But the next anime one that I have coming is gonna be Akame from Akame Got Killed versus, I don't know. I have not been able to think of anyone that's a swordsman that will be able to go against Akame. So I know that a lot of y'all don't want to send comments, but if you could send me a person to fight Akame, and if you feel like this person can win, I'll talk about it on YouTube and see who y'all believe would be a good person for Akame to go against. With that being said, I'll catch you later.